Hey ho folks, I'm doing this at 44 minutes to 1, actually, and that's the other way around, 12:44 a.m. It's getting very late, so I do need to get to work tomorrow, unfortunately, as much as I'd rather not to, but such is the fate of all human beings that do depend on a job to be able to pay their bills. We have to go to work. That said, it still doesn't destroy the buoyancy of the moment in regards that I'm happy to be back. I've actually gotten a chance to go see Sherlock Holmes. The review is going to be up later. If not today, tomorrow. It'll depend on how late it is. I can't really stay up that late. I've been doing that all the last 4 days. Unfortunately, my sleeping schedule is off the wall. Scars mark a person. Scars define who we are. Scars shape a person into what they are to become. In regards to emotional scars that we never get to see, except if they're emotionally relevant to certain specific moments, that you get to then see quirks or foibles of a person that mark them a little bit unique. Same goes for psychological scars, which can take some time to actually take care of. And then there's physical scars. Those physical scars usually mark a person's body, be it scarring done voluntarily, meaning that you go through scarring, actual scarring, or you have patterns designed into your flesh. Another one would be a form of a scarring, which is tattooing. Body piercing, the same thing. It does cause the body to scar up to a certain degree. And then there's accidental scars done by, well, accidents. Things that have happened to all of us. AussieMojoTube gave us his on his own scar, and now is the time for mine. My scar can't be very well seen, mostly because you never get to see any resolution to my face. As you can see, well, the area itself right here, the camera definition is so-so. Well, you won't be able to see it, but here, well, this wide, I've got a scar that dates back to when I was maybe 9 years old, possibly even 8 years old. The story of it goes as this. I was in the Cub Scouts, Beaver Scouts, the Castor in French is what we call them, and we were going to a big powwow, and I needed to go up with my mother to actually help me purchase my equipment. Being a child, not having any money, and not knowing what to do with my own self, well, I had to rely on Mom. So Mom took it upon herself to bring me and my brother to Edmundston, which is a good 25-minute drive from my town, so we could go to the local Canadian Tire and go purchase missing items that I needed for my camping trip. The powwow was a weekend thing, and it was a get-together with all the scouts across the world. Jamboree is what they called it. And the jamboree itself would have a lot of people becoming involved in creating and being in the moment from all walks of life. I needed to go buy a mess kit, backpack, a sleeping bag, and I think that's pretty much it in regards to the equipment. That's irrelevant to the story. What happened is this on the way, though, somewhere between Green River and Saint-Basile. In fact, probably not even 5 minutes out of Saint-Basile, my mom hit a patch of oil on the highway. We were in the station wagon. I wasn't tied or sitting down in the back. I was laying down on my stomach in the back seat of the station wagon, meaning the whole flatbed area. My brother was sitting as a passenger with my mom up front buckled up, and my mom was also buckled up. I was the only one that wasn't buckled, and I'm glad to say that I survived the accident, thank God. The actual event happened when we hit oil, based on what we were told by the RCMP who came and saved us, along with ambulance personnel, fire people, and whatnot. The car hit an oil patch. We just had some recent rain. It was still raining, and when they hit that particular patch, the car hydroplaned. Hydroplaning, if you don't know what it means, is when your car's tires are literally skimming on top of water because of either excess speed, loss of traction, or just baldness because they're used. In this case, it was complete loss of traction on one of the wheels, and it just... the car went like this at least 3 or 4 times, and then plunged into a ditch that was 15 feet from the road. Well, what happened is this inside the car. I remember my brother smashing forward into the windshield, not breaking the windshield, not causing any injuries to his head or brain. My mother's neck whipping, thus creating a whiplash for her, which also exacerbated a TMJ issue. I'm trying to remember what the actual term is, but it has to do with her jaw not sitting properly in the sockets, and also being exacerbated by either an overbite or an underbite. That became the bane of her existence for a good portion of her life. It's now taken care of, but there's a lot I could make out of that for her. As for me, well, I went flying from my flat down tummy position into the ceiling, and then slammed back down onto the floor of the actual vehicle, again on my tummy without any notices as to what happened. Now, here's the catcher. When I hit the ceiling, I was like this, okay? And when I went back down, I went like, oh, okay? Now, suffice it to say, the force was enough that it didn't feel painful. It's only when my mom brought me out from the car, asking if I was okay, I went, yep, and literally went, and then all I remember is a big dollop of blood splashing on my shoe, and me looking at my mom, crying my eyes out, possibly with my lip hanging by a single thread or two. I actually had to have stitches. I had to have, if I remember correctly, I had to have 13 stitches to hold it in place. And then it was a pain in the arse healing because it got infected, which isn't an issue, but it was an issue because it became stinging and painful while I was at the jamboree. I actually had to have the doctors, or they had a, for the lack of a better word, a medical bay available there, an infirmary set up for the event in case people got hurt, and which they did. I've heard that people actually injured themselves quite badly with chainsaws, axes, pretty much all the nice stuff that we're all prone to when we're in Scouts. But as for me, I was there because I just couldn't sleep. I got to the point after my first day there, this happened like 3 or 4 days before, and it wasn't giving me any issues. I was given a saline rinse, which was basically 2 cups of table salt mixed in with warm water in a small glass, and it tasted like complete crap. Seawater actually has a better taste than that actual mix. Suffice it to say, I had to swish it around for a few minutes and spit out, and it was annoying because you had catgut. The stitches themselves were self-dissolving, and they were hanging loose when they were coming, being dissolved away by my own body's immune system. And I just felt out of place with it, and it became infected. It became infected to the point that there was no pus, it was just painful, stinging, and I was given antibiotics. Trying to remember what it was, but ergo, my scar. That's the only one that I actually have when it comes to a scar, other than another one just underneath my right or left nipple, which was caused by me stapling my own self with my dad's staple gun, and it stayed there ever since. But that's my amazing scar, and I survived to tell it. I have an uncle who has better scars than I do. I have other people in my life that I know that have worse scars than I do. But that's my scar story. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you have a nice one. Talk to you guys later.